Guys, today's video is on factoring by grouping. When you have four terms like a polynomial, there's a couple steps you're going to use when you factor by grouping. You take your four terms and you draw a line down the middle, and you're going to split up this into two binomials. We have a binomial here, and we have a binomial here. Next, you're going to factor out the GCF of each of those binomials. This purple one, the GCF is x squared. What's left over is x plus 7. You guys are good at that. And then the other one, the orange one, the GCF is a positive 2. Don't forget the sign in front, whether it's positive or negative. Then parentheses x plus 7, because we took out a 2 from each of these. That's just review. Now, the new part of grouping is that what you do is you take out this factor, which they should be the same. It's not a coincidence. If you do it right, they should all be the same in the parentheses. You factor it out. And then what you do is you take your two GCFs and you make those another factor in parentheses. That is it. This is the final answer. Your last step here is to distribute, to check your answer. If I did that, you would get x cubed plus 2x plus 7x squared plus 14. Rearranging them in standard form, we get this, which is the same as what we started. Write down any questions you had from this example before we get to a little bit more challenging parts of grouping. Let's do some examples down here. Let's see, let's do number 3. Split this binomial, or split this polynomial into two binomials. Don't forget this negative sign right here. Take out the GCF of the red one. The GCF is w squared. And we're left with w plus 5. In blue, the GCF is 8. However, and this is a little tricky part, we need inside this parenthesis to be w plus 5 in order for this to work. If we took out an 8, it would be w minus 5, or excuse me, negative w minus 5. So our GCF needs to be a negative 8. If we divide both of these by negative 8, that gives us the w plus 5. That's the same thing. Our final answer is w plus 5 in one factor, and the other factor are your two GCFs written together just like this. Distribute to make sure if your answer is correct that you got with. Now let's do another one. Let's do number 6. Let's split this down the middle and make two binomials. We got an orange one on the left and we got a green one on the right. The orange one, let's look at that GCF. The GCF is a v squared. After taking out a v squared, we get a v, and then this becomes not nothing, it becomes a minus 1. In green, that GCF is also going to be a negative 3 because we need what's left in the parentheses, just like number 3, to be a v minus 1, just like the orange one was. Dividing each by negative 3 is v minus 1. Let's write our final answer as v minus 1, and then your two GCFs together makes a v squared minus 3. Let's do some more on the next page. Let's do number 11. Number 11, let's make a binomial here, and then make a binomial here. In red, the GCF is 4x, because 4 is the biggest number that goes in 8 and 12, and x, because x is the lowest exponent x they share. Left over, after dividing each of these by 4x, we get 2x, and then 3. In green, There is no number that goes into 2 and 3, so there is no coefficient GCF, but they both have y's here and here. The lowest y that they share is a normal y. Dividing out y's from each of these now, we get 2x, and then we get the 3 because the y canceled out. Hey, look at that. Inside the parentheses are the same 2x plus 3. So we know we're doing it right. 2x plus 3 is one factor, and then the two GCFs are your other factor. And distribute to check your work. One more we're going to do, just to see if we're doing it right. I think a lot of people think number 13 is tough because there are no numbers, but don't worry, it's a little easier that way. Let's split this up into two binomials. All right, the one in purple, they both have a's, but the smallest exponent a they have is an a squared. Let me write that a little better. Dividing out an a squared gives us a plus b. And then in blue, they both have b's, but the smallest b they have is a normal b. Dividing out a b from each term gives us a plus b. Hey, look at that. I know what I'm doing it right because I have the same factor inside each parenthesis. Write that once, and then write the other two GCFs together as the other factor. Write down what questions you guys have on factoring by grouping. If you're struggling on finding the GCF, go back to my previous video and watch that.